Happy full moon, bitches, witches. Trust me, all this clothing is necessary. It's colder than tits on witches. Today, my voice is going to start frogging up. Fucking windy, low 40s, humid. Rained recently, probably rain again soon, cloudy. It's a typical, February day. Nothing unusual about it for Portland. It hasn't been a particularly cold or nasty winter. It's just been a winter, kind of average. I tell you, it's winter enough that the screen on my phone cracked from the cold. It doesn't crack when it's in the cold like it is now. It cracks when I come in from the cold into the warmer establishments, such as the fine establishment where I reside. And that's what happened last night. I was out for a period of time. I was feeling better, and it wasn't cold like this, and I je vais au bicyclette for about an hour, maybe a tad more. And I noticed after I returned home that my screen was cracked. Now, this is a cumulative thing. I'm sure it didn't happen all at once because I've been spending a lot of time out here on the balcony this winter. And so, what did I want to talk about? Freedom. Yeah. Leo, full moon. It only happens once a year. Leo is fucking freedom. I mean, think about the lion, the king of the jungle, or the queen, if you prefer, the lioness. But, we all relate to the male with the gigantic mane, and they're also bigger. One of the largest four-legged land animals, of course, there's the rhinoceros and the elephant and all that, but, as far as like regular land animals, the Barbary Coast lion, now extinct, thanks to man hunting him in the 19th century, the famous lion of the Barnum and Bailey circus in the 1800s. Yeah, that lion, the famous lion used by the Egyptians in battle and trained to attack in packs. Can you imagine a group of lions 5 feet at the shoulder, 600 pounds plus, attacking you in a pack? I think that might break up the lines of defense pretty quickly. Yeah, that lion, now nearly extinct, but famous from the days of the Barnum and Bailey circus in the 19th century. Along with the clown, there are famous clowns. I mean, you went to the circus for lions and clowns, and a little bit for the trapeze artists. I know, I was around back then. You may not believe me, but no, I went to the circus as a kid. I don't even know anyone who's ever been to a circus, but I went to the circus as a kid more than once. I did. What was I saying? Yeah, the lion, Leo, the lion, today, full moon, Leo, just occurred. Not even 2 hours ago. Exact. It's an astronomical event, not an astrological event. The moon, exact opposite the sun, is an astronomical event that occurs at a specific time that can be measured. So it was at about 10:37 today, Pacific Standard Time. It's about 12:30 as I make this hapless, toothless, old lion video. And, I mean, it's really, really unfortunate that that animal was ever tamed and trained and put into circuses or, as lore goes, thrust out onto the battlefield during ancient Egyptian times. But nonetheless, psychologically, we really think of lions as a symbol of freedom. These days, I think of hummingbirds as a symbol of freedom. And I'm really grateful to sit here and be visited by their beauty. Oh God, that tea's good. It's warm. It's warming me up. And so then, well, what is freedom? Obviously, it's not to live in cages, but these days the cages are more, manufactured in our minds and also in all of the media, mind control, and not just the media, society itself, educational system, our relations, our friends. All of it is trying consciously, unconsciously to put us in cages and keep us there. This is who you are. This is how you need to behave. If you go outside that, then we're going to herd you back in. You can't behave that way because you're not that kind of person. You're not smart enough. You didn't go to enough school. You didn't get as many degrees. Some of the dumbest people I know are highly degreed. Some of the smartest people I know have no degrees. But there's very, very few smart people fitting either description, educated or self-educated, that I even know these days. There's certainly none in this building that I reside in. It's probably the smartest person I know in this building. Also, one of the youngest is the 32-year-old trans woman who works down at the front desk. And I missed seeing her last night because her trans friend, who's not completely crossed, came down to visit and hang out with her. So I was like a third wheel, odd man out. She seemed to be about the same age. Late 20s, early 30s. The trans woman thinks she's old at 32. I'm like, okay, 32's getting old, huh? I could double that and then some. Easily. Man, I'd kill for some of that 32-year-old juice. Just one day living on that 32-year-old juice. Running up and down mountains, hills, stairways to heaven. And get to the top, smoke a fag. That's what we used to call cigarettes, fags. A faggot was a thing that you used to light a fire. Yeah, so that's where that word comes from, and that's how I'm using it. It's British slang. Faggot, light a fire. Light my fire! Come on, baby! Light my fire! So I removed myself from a certain individual. Got so fucking tired of her act. Her 12-year-old antics. Don't want to be around 12-year-olds anymore. I mean, just don't. And trust me, I have to. Sometimes I act that way too. But I just can't do it. I'm not going to get into it, but I got a week under my belt, and gratefully she hasn't contacted me much. A couple of like 1 or 2 word contacts. Ooh, boy. Don't overexert yourself. Anyhow, it's making it easy on me because I don't have to get lured back in. And it's kind of like withdrawal. Bad relationships are just as hard to cut out of as good relationships. You know anything, you know that I'm right. The number of battered women or battered men who go back over and over and over again to the abuser, the batterer. This is such a common thing. It's like, right, we're gonna pass out tickets at the Daytona 500 coming up this month. No, I don't fucking think so. You know why they have that race in February? Because otherwise it'd be too fucking hot, even though it's right at the beach. February, that asphalt's not going to heat up as much. Cars aren't going to overheat as much. They're stock cars. So, it's best that it happens in February. I've never been there, but I've been to Daytona, and I was in Daytona 3 weeks after the Daytona 500 stock car race. There is the Daytona 200 stock motorcycle race, and I was there for that. I was camped on the infield, and a guy and his mechanic who were entered on his Yamaha 750 4-stroke from Canada, Ontario. He was from Ontario. And it's all chronicled in my book that you're never going to read. It's from the section cleverly titled Florida. There's 4 stories there, and one of the stories is titled Down in Daytona. So, and it's a very good story, extremely well researched, because I couldn't possibly remember all the details at the time. I was straight. I'd gone through a lot of trauma down in Jamaica, and before that in Pennsylvania. Life threatening, like nearly killed me kind of danger and excitement and adventure, all chronicled in the book. And so I had straightened up. I was hardly even drinking. I was just straight. I was living off of corn that fell off the back of a truck that skidded off the road. Winter harvest, good goddamn corn, just picked. Yeah, so also chronicled in that story. You can live on corn. It ain't pretty. You can do it. So, anyhow, the subject of freedom comes up a lot in my book. Freedom as we knew it and practiced it and observed it and experienced it. Just balls out, balls to the wall, freedom, tripping balls, freedom in the 70s. And to be honest, I don't think we've really been free as people since then. I don't know what it was like in the 50s. I mean, I was born in 52, so I turned 8 in 1960. But I will say this, the freedom of the 70s was the early 70s, as chronicled in my book, Being Our Own Gods, Drug Memoirs of an Artist. That would be me, 1970, 75. I think that's the greatest freedom we've known as a people in this culture, in this particular society. America. Yeah. I want you to read it. It's short stories. You can pick up and read it in any order, or you can read them all in a row. They carefully piece together to form a mosaic whole. They are not in chronological order. They are simply fashioned in geographical sections for the sake of having some order. 24 stories, 90,000 words, prologue, epilogue, glossary of organic drugs, I did. Their effects, folklore. I think you should read it. It's about freedom. And that, as cold as it is right now on the balcony, and, it's the full moon in Leo. I can barely talk because I'm so cold, but it's the full moon in Leo. This is the epitome of your lordly, generous, compassionate, love at all costs freedom. And I want you to do something today that doesn't endanger yourself or others, that expresses that primal freedom. I don't care what condition you're in. I'm not in very good condition physically right now. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I injured my hip, and then I've had a cascading series of worsening health events. Regardless, it's not about health, or I'm in great health, or I have the freedom of health, or I have the freedom of wealth. No, freedom exists apart from all that. It is a primal urge in man, in woman, in child especially. And I want you to find some way to express it that doesn't harm self or others.